It's your boy. Back at it again. You already know. Let's hop up into it. Verse number 5, chapter 8 of the book of Matthew. And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, or Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus saith unto him, I will come and heal him. Then the centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldst come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, go, and he goeth, and to another, come, and he cometh, and to my servant, do this, and he doeth it. And when Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you that many shall come from the east and the west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the same hour. Now I know that was a lot of words. I know we busted through quite a bit of verse and verbiage there, but I think it was necessary. I think it was necessary to get the full context of the situation. All right, I think. I don't know. I think, but now I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna go back in through it a little bit. I got a couple questions I gotta ask. All right. So obviously Matthew, right? I've said this multiple times. Matthew is a book written to the Jews, right? But in this situation, I don't know if we've come across it yet. Obviously, there was the leper. Didn't really talk too much about what his ethnicity was, right, or nationality, right? But now we got the centurion, which is most definitely a Roman, a Gentile, correct? Coming to him, saying, Lord, right? Addressing him as Lord, as who he says he is, right? As Christ, I think. I assume that's what that means, right? Coming to him with faith and with belief, right? This whole time, seemingly, from what I understand, Jesus has been here talking to the Jews for the most part, right? And obviously not everyone, but right here, I feel like, and again, I don't know. In the past, 7 chapters, I don't remember very much if he specifically has talked to a Gentile, or if a Gentile has specifically come into play here. I'll have to do some research. I'll have to run it back a little bit. But if this is the first time that the Gentiles are specifically spoken to, right, or specifically in play here, the centurion, someone who is technically, what is it? um, you know, dang, bro, like invading. He's like and servituding the Jews or whatever. He's, dang, bro, I don't know why I can't think of that word right now, but either way, he's in power over the Jews, right? Technically, and but he's coming to Jesus, addressing him as Lord, right? Addressing him as something superior, coming to him with faith, right? This Gentile, this centurion who has power over the Jews, captivity, right, over the Jews or something like that, coming to him with faith, asking for help, right? Seemingly the last person that would be, right? I don't see in many occupations, right? I don't know if there's many times where guards are coming to the people they are occupying for help, and the thing is, it's not like, there's like times where other countries are in other countries to help them from being invaded from other countries, right? Or something like that, right? But this is like a forceful occupation, right? The Jews, I think, especially at this time, don't like the Romans, right? When Jesus dies, the reason that Pontius Pilate gave into the Jews' demands, right, is because the Jews have already been starting rebellions and stuff like that. It's already like a dicey time, and he doesn't want to have to deal with that, right? He's trying to keep the peace with these people that don't want them there, at the Romans there at the time. The Jews don't want the Romans there because they want the promised land. They want Jerusalem. They want, their land, right? So this centurion, this guy who is persecuting the Jews, right, comes to Jesus and says, "Hey, like, Lord, please help me," right? So the dynamic there, right? The Gentile is the last person to believe that, or should be the last person to believe that this is any type of savior for him, right? This is a Jewish Messiah, right? This is a Jewish guy that's like saying like, "Yo, look at all these. I'm the prophecy that your Jewish prophets foretold," right? So the fact that this Gentile, this centurion, this persecutor, right, is coming to Jesus is a little strange, right? It's not what you would expect, right? It's the opposite of what you would expect, right? Centurion coming with faith before even getting there, knowing that when he comes to this man it's not, he doesn't even believe it's man. He believes it's genuinely the Christ, the God, the Lord, the Messiah, right? I believe, right? I'm going off what I'm reading, right? From what I understand, that is what he believes. He comes to him saying, "Lord, my servant lieth home sick of the palsy, whatever, grievously tormented." Jesus was like, "Yeah, I'll just come and heal him." But no, he said, "Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldst come under my roof." So he knows who this man is, right? He knows who Jesus is. He knows the abilities that he has. He knows the power, right, that he has. He has that faith. And maybe it's just the faith that he can do these things. Maybe it's not the faith that he says who he is. I don't know. But the fact that Jesus says, or that it says that when Jesus heard it, he marveled. I assume that I assume that he knows that Jesus. I'm assuming that Jesus knows the centurion knows that Jesus is the Son of God, right? That's the only conclusion I have right there. And he breaks it down pretty well, right? And this is something that we can all kind of like learn from. I would assume, right? I think centurion says, in verse, I'll just start it at verse 8. Lord, I'm not worthy that thou shouldst come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, right? And I say to this man, go, and he goeth, and the other come, and he cometh, and to my servant, do this, and he doeth it. So it's like, if bro, like, that's a good way or analogy or thought process that we can all use in our own lives, right? We can all think of something in our own lives, right? And it can help us understand God a little bit better, I think. It won't always, like, obviously we can't like fully understand, fully comprehend God, right? Because again, like, I mean, bro, just think about it. Like, if we're only limited to our knowledge by our life experiences, and God's been around life forever since it created, like, just off that, like, he has more experiences and he knows more, and there's like, you know, you can't comprehend that, right? Like, just off that, right? But I think he gives you experiences. I think there's hand-picked experiences in each one's life, that you can not I can't, I don't want to say that I believe in like predestination or anything, but I think that there's specific things that happen for a reason to people, right? That can help them if they have the intuition, right? If they look within themselves and they take the time and humble themselves, right? And put the pride aside, right? And actually look at a situation for what it is in their own inferiority, I guess. I'm not trying to just like dog, right? But at the same time, I'm not trying to brown nose, I guess. I'm just to kind of like help frame mind reference, right? If you take the time and come from a good place, from the right place in your heart, from these situations, I do believe that those experiences can help you get closer to God and help you learn more about God and his nature, right? And help you like, obviously God is God, right? God is, again, you can't really comprehend him, but these experiences help you maybe sympathize with them, right? Maybe, you know, obviously like understand a little bit more, but, and I don't want to say like humanize, but again, like, I mean, he came down in a human form. So, because like, I don't want to be disrespectful in any way, but I mean, some of these experiences, like, you can relate with God, right? You relate with a higher being, and again, like, it comes from like it has to come from like a specific place, right? It can't be like, oh, you know, I have this, you know, power, whatever, like, like I have all this money, you know, like I'm Jeff Bezos, like I'm Bill Gates, whatever, Elon Musk, whatever, like I'm like God, right? Like, I gotta know. It's like, it's, bro, like with the whole love stuff, like learning what love is, it's, I've had experiences in that regard, in that realm, and then thinking about like, oh, like, what if this is, you know, what if God, like, you know, loves like this or whatever, and like, you know what I'm saying, and it just kind of helps formulate that relationship, see that relationship between you and him, right? Because there's a relationship, there's a personification of a relationship, right? And I think if you come through these experiences, right, in your life, and just relate them to God, right? I'm rambling about a bunch of stuff that really doesn't pertain to this, right? But, you know, from the centurion saying like, hey, like, I do this, I have this experience, surely God also, even greater of abilities and power, right? I can tell someone to go do something. God can do 10 times that, right? I can love someone like this. God can love someone, infinitely more, right? So, I think that's a good exercise. Finding something in your life that you do and thinking about like, oh, God does that, whatever. Or maybe something that you do in your life and like sin and stuff, and how easy that is and how hard it is to stay away from that. And it's like, oh, I do this, I fall into this. God came down and didn't. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So something like that, right? Just helps you build relationship to an extent, I guess. And that Jesus marveled, right? Verse 10, and says, "Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great a faith, no, not in Israel." So again, Matthew to the Jews, Jesus been going to the Jews for the majority of this book, correct? Even says so right there, that this random persecutor guy that's in power over the Jews, right? The last person, he's a Gentile, right? Last person to come to him for help, last person to believe in him, comes to him with the most faith, more faith than the people that have been waiting on him, reading about him, been prophesied to about him for the past however many years, right? These people don't have can't even hold a feather to the faith of this random Gentile that's persecuting the Jews, right? Technically, has Jews in captivity, right? The last person, and the thing is, like, that's a recurring theme even through the Old Testament. It's like the kings that invade and take Israel will end up like honoring God, right? I think that was something that the Babylonian king did or something. Nebuchadnezzar, I'm not sure. Definitely a bunch of decent amount of kings, a few kings, at least one, right? That took Israel into captivity in the Old Testament would turn around and then start worshiping God and be blessed for it. So it's just kind of a weird thing. And even to this day, like even to Jesus' day, still happening. And it's crazy because it's like, again, if you read the Old Testament, I think the Jews' Israel's story is a great analogy for you as a person, right? That you can apply a lot of your own life. You can get a lot of the lessons that they learn and apply them to your own life, and then see how you're very, very much similar and have the same faults and stuff like that. You can, throughout all thousands of years, you can apply that to your one regular life right now, and see all of those things that they did in yourself, right? And you can see the recurring theme. Like, I think this is something that happens in real life right now. If you love your child so much, if you dude, like, I think it definitely happens when on a regular basis with rearing up children, where you love them so much and you're willing to do anything for them, and they keep disobeying, they keep pushing you away, right? And then like these other kids will come over and they'll see you and see your parents or whatever, and they're like, wow, your parents are so cool, like, like, what's up? And they're like, oh no, you don't understand. But then you grow up, and this has happened genuinely with my own brothers and sisters, with me too. And then you realize, like, wow, no, my parents were actually like super nice, like super great. Like, I couldn't ask for better parents, right? And yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you can see those stories with Israel and with God and everyday life, and it's pretty crazy, But that's something else. That's a little side tangent, right? Once again, been talking about a lot of stuff that doesn't pertain, I guess. But 11, right? I say unto you that many shall come from east and west, and shall sit with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of so many people coming from east and west, right, sit down with the patriarchs of the Israelites, right, in the kingdom of heaven. So I'm assuming this is Gentiles, right? I think this is the Gentiles. He's talking about us, right, coming from the east and the west, which does make sense, right? That's what our world is divided into right now. We live in the west. I live in the west, and then there's the east, right? And shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. So yeah, patriarchs of Israel. But the children of the kingdom, Israel, shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And that's the thing. It's you with the parent analogy, thinking that your parents are trash. It's because you have such good parents that you think that you're entitled to that everyday just preferential treatment type of thing, right? And when they slip up, because parents aren't like you, especially if you're a firstborn, they ain't never done that before, right? They're like learning on the job, so parents aren't perfect, right? And yeah, when they slip up, you feel like, oh, you've been wronged in some way, right? And you don't give them any grace because they're like, because they're your authority figure and whatnot, all that. But you feel entitled to that, and I feel like that's a huge thing with the Israelites, right? They were told that they were God's chosen people out of all the races on earth, right? All the people on earth, they were the chosen ones of God, and they just let that go straight to their head. And then so much so that they didn't even listen to the one that said that they were the chosen. They didn't even listen to the one they were chosen by, right? They eventually thought they were like too good for the one that chose them, right? And I mean, to this day, seemingly, like that pride, like, bro, the pride's the biggest sin. Like the pride's the first sin in that I think it was ever committed, right? Pride, the fall, right, of Lucifer, right? Thinking that he could do God's job better, thinking that he could be God, right? Thinking that he was good enough to do everything that God does, right? And I think pride is the chief sin. It's the sin that gets most people, right? especially like men, right? Especially men, for sure, having pride in their hearts, thinking that they're top dog type of stuff. So like, it's a very prevalent sin. I'm not just trying to call out one specific people, but yeah, bro, pride definitely has destroyed many things, many civilizations, many people, right? And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the selfsame hour. So that faith, bro, hey, bro, it's huge. Yeah, it was a good segment, good little chat, good little, lot to think about off that, for sure. But yeah, appreciate y'all sticking around. Love you. You already know. Ask God the biggest blessings down on you, Amen.